Hello, I'm Movie Hanger, and this is the film Monkey Man, an Indian John Wick.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water.
Constantly losing in underground no-rules fights, infiltrates a mafia gang to avenge his mother's death. The film begins with a boy named Kid, who is reading a children's book with his mother, the legend of a monkey-like deity that once swallowed the sun, mistaking it for a mango. The story jumps ahead several years. Grown-up Kid performs in a monkey mask at an underground no-rules fighting tournament. Despite his efforts, Kid loses the fight. Tiger, who is the organizer, appears in the arena and announces the winners. Later, Kid asks the boss for more money for his performance, but to increase the pay, they need to raise the show's level. Kid buys information about businesswoman Kapoor's schedule from a local teenager. Soon after, a local beggar accidentally bumps into Kapoor's table at a street cafe and steals her wallet from her purse. Miraculously recovering from disability, the thief passes the wallet on. After passing through several hands, the wallet ends up with Kid, the intended recipient. With the stolen wallet, Kid goes to Kapoor's establishment. Lying that he took it from the thieves, Kid asks for a job instead of monetary compensation. As proof that he's not afraid to get his hands dirty, he shows his palms, all scarred. At first, the manager refuses to hire him, but later hires him as a dishwasher. In the kitchen, Kid meets Alfonso, a local dealer and Kapoor's assistant. After work, Kid goes to a hidden hideout where weapons are sold and buys a revolver. While serving tea, Kid overhears Kapoor and Alfonso discussing an upcoming VIP party. Kid begs Alfonso to let him work as a waiter at the event, but he refuses, saying the guests will be too serious. To convince him, Kid proposes earning money through an underground tournament bet. He confesses that he will be participating in a rigged fight. He will win the first 2 rounds and lose in the third. In the evening, Alfonso arrives at the specified address. The fight goes exactly as Kid describes, so Alfonso appoints him as a waiter for the party. During the process, Alfonso explains how to behave and who's who among the guests. The room is filled with influential businessmen and politicians. Additionally, it's revealed that the establishment is an elite brothel with prostitutes from around the world, and the best rooms are upstairs, accessible via a golden elevator. After work, Alfonso and Kid go down to the parking lot, where Alfonso shows off his car, a modified motoriksha capable of decent speed. He gives Kid a ride home. During the next shift, Kid notices a client next to a girl named Sita. The client's ring triggers a flashback in Kid's childhood. A police squad tried to evict him, his mother, and neighbors from their village. Unable to contain his anger, Kid goes outside to an alley by the dumpster. There he notices a stray puppy and feeds it scraps from a trash can. Sita, who went out to smoke, sees him doing it. The following days pass monotonously. Kid works as a waiter in the brothel, feeding and training the dog during breaks. Sometimes he works as a punching bag boy in the underground ring, and in his free time, he practices shooting with his revolver. When the time comes, Kid uses the dog to fetch a gun through a hole in the fence. The metal detector frame hinders smuggling the gun through the door. Alfonso trusts Kid to distribute cocaine-filled bottles instead of champagne, which Alfonso carefully packages himself. Among the wealthy guests, the waiter notices Police Chief Sinha. The earring in his ear also triggers a wave of memories. Kid goes to the restroom, trying to regain composure. Then he adds a cleaning agent to the cocaine portion. He serves this portion to Sinha. After consuming the mixture, the cop's nose starts bleeding, forcing him to go to the restroom to wash up. Following, carefully locking the door, Kid enters with a revolver in hand. He points it at Sinha's head, hinting that it's revenge for his mother. The policeman intercepts the gun and hits the waiter with a perfume bottle. A shot rings out. Guests in the hall start running in panic. At the same time, a fight ensues in the restroom. Despite his experience in MMA, Kid receives blows to the head from a heavy and large cop, aided by his colleague, before catching a bullet. Even using trays and somersaults doesn't help Kid overcome the opponent. Managing to momentarily knock him out, the waiter crawls towards the revolver, but the injured jerk from the stall grabs it first. Grabbing the guest by the legs, Kid introduces him closer to the toilet bowl, but the gun goes there too. Then the cop rushes in, whom the guy tries to strangle with the chain from the cistern. The fight continues. Breaking Kid's head on the sink, Sinha retrieves a hidden knife and stabs it into the opponent's leg. When the cop takes Kid in a chokehold, he pulls out the knife and strikes back. At that moment, security bursts through the door, forcing him to retreat. Exiting through the emergency exit, Kid jumps from a running start at a window, but it turns out to be sturdier than expected. He is forced to make his way to the building's exit via the stairs, pushing aside security personnel along the way. Arriving at the parking lot with a sleeping guard, his leg wound is bandaged. Following, armed guards and guests from the hall, led by Alfonso, descend. Kid hijacks Alfonso's car, but stops upon noticing the dealer to give him a lift. Colleagues from the brothel business rush down the highway, pursued by the police. Breaking away from the cars, Kid abruptly slows down to let police motorcycles pass. Soon, a helicopter joins the pursuit. Kid weaves through narrow streets, attempting to shake off the tail, but suddenly notices a girl ahead and brakes. Immediately, a police car crashes into their vehicle, flipping it over. Wounded, Kid watches as Alfonso flees until other cops arrive and knock him out with a precise blow.
Hole in one!
Kid regains consciousness inside the car and in handcuffs. He resists arrest, kicking the cops. Kid takes a gun from one cop and then shoots the others. Subduing his enemies, Kid shoots off the lock and escapes. Kid heads to the nearest house and climbs the stairs. It turns out to be a brothel, and soon the owner appears with an axe. He swings it, causing inconvenience to the guests, while the fugitive deftly dodges. But when the axe presses him against the wall, Kid bites the owner's nose. Cops burst in and open fire. The guy escapes, making his way to the roof. There he runs off into the distance, but a precise shot from a helicopter hits him, and the fugitive loses consciousness, falling into the murky waters of the river. Kid wakes up somewhere in the underground. They remove the bullet from him and cauterize the wounds. Upon waking up, the guy finds out that he is in the temple of the untouchable Hydra caste. Kid wants to leave, but the caretaker Alpha convinces him to stay for healing. In the process, Kid becomes acquainted with the community's culture, including musical chants. Alpha sees that Kid is tormented not only by physical ailments but also by soul trauma. He invites the guest to look at the sacred tree, the seeds of which the Hydra use in rituals. Alpha suggests that Kid undergo such a ritual, for which he prepares a hallucinogenic powder from the seeds and gives it to the guest to inhale. During the narcotic trip, Kid travels back to childhood. He watched a puppet show with his mother when corrupt police officers, sent by the leader of the religious sect Baba Shakti, surrounded the village. The corrupt cops started shooting, setting houses on fire, and beating citizens to convince them to leave this land. His mother hides Kid in the attic, from where he sees Sinha enter the house. Sina tries to mock his mother, but she fights back with a knife, leaving a scar on his ear. The enraged chief beats the woman, then sets her on fire. All this is witnessed by Kid from above. When the cop left, the boy tried to save his burning mother, burning his hands to the flesh. That's how he got his burns. Experiencing the traumatic event again, Kid feels like he visited a psychologist and worked through the issue. He starts training in the temple, toughening his hands for his impending return to the criminal world. The Festival of Lights begins. Right at the start of the festivities, Baba Shakti's party wins the elections. The Hydra community faces humiliations from Shakti's supporters. Kid sees a beaten member of his sheltering caste. Kid returns to the city. Alfonso, hiding from colleagues, notices a poster about the monkey's return to the underground fighting tournament. Unbelieving that Kid has returned, he goes to watch the fights. Tiger happily announces a new match. Kid knocks out his opponent with one leg strike. The stunned crowd and displeased organizers don't know what to do. Not wanting to let Kid go, Tiger brings out another fighter into the ring, the bruiser nicknamed Bear. Some problems arise with him. It's not easy to knock him out, but the monkey maintains the advantage in speed. He dodges attacks, delivering his own strikes. Tiger gives Bear a bat wrapped in barbed wire, knocking out his opponent. The monkey raises the bat but doesn't finish him off. The audience has nothing to do but celebrate his victory. It turns out Kid told the accomplice to bet all the money on himself. He sent the winnings to the Hydra community that saved him. Then the guy repaints his mask white. While people celebrate the Festival of Lights, corrupt politicians gather in the establishment led by Baba Shakti. Kid goes there, taking off his mask at the entrance. He climbs over the fence and goes to the kitchen. There he is, met by security to receive a blow on the head one by one. Overcoming all those who stand in his way, Kid places a gas canister on the stove. Grabbing a knife, he continues his path. In the elevator, he deals with two more guards. Guests in the hall hear the gas canister explode in the kitchen as a bloodied Kid emerges from the elevator and launches a firework at Sinha, which he had prepared in advance. While some guests panic and scatter, others are escorted out by bodyguards. Kid deals with the security. Knocking out the noobs, he notices that Sinha is escaping on the golden lift. A second squad of guards also arrives on the lift. Here, a combat unit of the Hydra led by Alpha comes to the rescue. A fight ensues ensues, during which crockery breaks and furniture is smashed, and Kid manages to brawl on the bar counter. The establishment's owner appears with a gun. Kapoor tries to shoot Kid when the prostitute Sita comes to the rescue. She knocks out the owner with a tray. Using the same device, the guy cuts off the owner's finger and leaves on the golden lift upstairs. At the top, he is met by Sin. He calmly dodges his opponent's attacks, delivering precise counterattacks. Sin manages to knock him down, but it doesn't change the situation. Kid beats the corrupt cop to death with a shoe thrown by someone from the prostitutes. Picking up Sin's knife, which he didn't manage to use this time, Kid, using the severed finger of the madam, rides the elevator further, straight to Baba Shakti's penthouse. He waits for him alone, starting the conversation from afar. The guru takes his padukas, special footwear, emphasizing his important status, and approaches the Avenger. Baba Shakti tries to distract Kid with religious talk, but as soon as he is distracted by the spotlight of a passing helicopter, he pulls out hidden blades and, like a seasoned assassin, stabs one into the guest's side. Surprised, Kid drops the knife and offers his hand for a second strike. The blade pierces through the palm, but the Avenger's rage is enough to grab the guru's fist and break his wrist. Pulling the blades out of the palm, Kid thrusts them into Baba Shakti's chest. Then, he stands up unsteadily and looks at the canvas on the wall, in the center of which an monkey-like deity is visible. Looking at it, the boy remembers walks with his mother in the forest, the first happy memories in many years. Kid's eyes roll back and he falls. This is where the movie ends. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everyone.